Mr. Goebbels, welcome to the Benelux Union. What was your specific role in the creation of the Schengen Agreement?
It happened that I became by chance chairman of this intergovernmental conference between the three Benelux countries, France and Germany. There was a whole process before where especially Helmut Kohl and François Mitterrand tried to get more rights for the European citizens, but at the European Council in Fontainebleau in 1984, when Mitterrand proposed to make a European policy of less controls on border, Maggie Thatcher immediately said no. And then the Prime Minister of the three Benelux countries wrote to Mitterrand and Kohl and asked them if it would not be an idea to start among five founding members of the European Union. And so it happened, and it was decided to start negotiation at the Benelux Secretariat here in Brussels in '85. And in '85, Luxembourg had the rotating presidency of the Benelux. So I became chairman of this conference, and we found quickly an agreement. We had a single ministerial conference here in this room. And so I had to invite for the signing of what would become the Schengen Treaty. And my idea was to find a place with a more symbolic character, and we decided to sign in Schengen, which is a little tiny village, mainly of wine growers, at the border of Germany, France, and Luxembourg, and therefore of the Benelux. It's the so-called country of the three borders, and so we decided to sign there for the symbolics. And my main achievement is that I gave the name of Schengen to the whole process.
Really?
Yeah, because I was the one who invited, and when we had, as there was no decent room available in Schengen, we rented a ship, the Marie Astrid, and we signed on the ship. As host, I greeted my four colleagues and made a little introductory speech. And at the end of my speech, I said what we are going to sign now will enter world history as Schengen Agreement. Everybody laughed. I laughed too. But it proved that I was right. Schengen is today an entity grouping 28 countries, more than 400 million people. There are even four countries which don't belong to the European Union, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Switzerland, which are a member of Schengen, and I think that's a huge achievement.
So, looking back, what are you most proud of?
I'm proud that I was a little instrument in the whole process which after the mid-80s brought more and more rights to European citizens. Schengen was not only the abolition of controls at the internal borders of the five countries, and more countries joined afterwards. Schengen was also the kickstart of a lot of rights. Nowadays, European citizens can drive wherever he wants. He can settle down wherever he wants. He can study in the country of his choice. He can work in the country of his choice. He can retire in the country of his choice. That's fantastic rights. which you will not find anywhere else in the world, not even in the United States of America. And most of the Europeans are nowadays not aware how the world looked back in the 80s. But that was a very different world of the one we have now. And I think if I'm proud of something, that is that I contributed to create this Europe for citizens.
We have a photo here in this Schengen room. We called it the Schengen room because negotiations were held here. Are you in the photo?
Yeah. It's the only ministerial meeting we had before the signing of the treaty. We had it in this room, and I chaired it because I was the chairman of Benelux. No special merit, it's a revolving presidency, and by chance in '85 Luxembourg had to chair, and so I chaired this meeting, and you see me in the middle of the photo.
At that time, in '85, did you or your colleagues realize the importance of what you were negotiating?
Frankly not. We were convinced that we should try to facilitate transports and communications between the 5 original countries, and that was a common goal we shared. But fact of life is that in the 5 capitals, the political power didn't really believe in it. None of the 5 ministers of foreign affairs, which was in charge of foreign affairs in these years, came to this meeting. They all delegated their number 2s, the Secretary of States. So we were 5 Secretary of States which achieved it, but in the moment where we signed the first Schengen Agreement, and even when we signed the second Schengen Agreement, nobody foresaw everything which would happen. Nobody foresaw that Europe would become, thanks to this policy of free circulation, the first touristic destination in the world. 40% of tourists in the world international come to Europe, thanks also to the Schengen visas. We are one of the major destinations for students throughout the world. And especially in the Schengen area, the 28 countries which form the Schengen area, the exchanges exploded. Goods, services, capital exchanges, and everything which is related to people. Everything exploded since '85 or the '90s. There was also the policy of the European Union, the so-called grand internal market imagined by Jacques Delors, but Schengen was a frontrunner of all of this.
So, in your view, what is the significance of Schengen today, in today's context?
But I think the significance is still great, because Europeans are used to travel freely within the European Union. And whenever there are controls, and unfortunately for the moment, 10 out of the 28 Schengen countries reintroduce some controls, mainly the Germans, who try to introduce even total control. And that's bothering people, and it has also negative economic impacts, mainly in border regions. And therefore I think that people will start to revolt against this silly reintroduction of controls at internal borders. If controls at the internal borders would bring absolute security, then Great Britain should be a paradise for security, because Great Britain never was a member of Schengen, was always in control of its borders. And still, Britain had terrorist attacks, Britain has high criminality, and last year Britain was the country in Europe which has the biggest number of illegal immigrants. So, is controlling at borders really a solution to all the problems we have? I don't think so. I still have the hope that Europeans will notice all the freedoms they enjoy. And the rest of the world is looking at Europe with envy. The fact that so many illegal immigrants try to enter the European Union shows you that, seen from the outside, Europe is not a hell but a paradise.